This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. Thank you for listening. I am thrilled to be here. You know, there are a lot of things different about growing up now versus when I was a child. One of the key differences is when I would leave the house, my parents were basically relying on me to keep them apprised of my whereabouts. I would say, I'm going to Brian's house. I'm going to the playground. I'm going to the schoolyard. I'm going to the mall. I'm going to the movies. And presumably there was an expectation that if you weren't where you were saying you were going to be, you would phone and say, oh, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi. I had a stepmother as well. Hi, Liz. I'm going to go to Timmy's house. Right? Okay. These days, that's not the case. Not the case at all, because one of the things that's become incredibly common is children have mobile phones. And these mobile phones have tracking software. And the parents know where the children are at all times. Now, if you're a parent, you love this, because it gives you a little bit of peace of mind to know where your child is. You're not relying upon them to call and check in. You're also not relying upon them to call in and tell the truth. But the parents' unprecedented ability to keep tabs on their children might be threatening some of the normal, healthy parts of young adulthood. That's the word from Axios' Erica Pandy. And I think she's onto something here. I always say, I actually know some couples that do this. I know a husband and wife that track where the other one is. And I've said this in front of my wife. I said, I would never consent to that. Forget it. Do you know how often I've told my wife, yeah, I'm 10 minutes away when I'm 45 minutes away? No way do I want that. You know how often I have needed the latitude of flexibility in locations? No way.
Frank, where you going?
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not chasing around strippers with a gun at 2:45 a.m. because of the Second Amendment. But
they're never going to catch you, Frank.
I don't want to be tracked. And that's as an adult. Can't imagine being a mischievous 16-year-old. So location sharing tools can help give parents peace of mind and ease the logistical burdens of raising a family. But some parents want to keep that data flowing even after their children head off to college, which is a pretty tight virtual leash at a stage that's traditionally been about independence. And thinking about this, I know parents of college students that have this location tracking. And I don't think that's a healthy development at all. 84% of U.S. parents use some form of tracking to monitor their kids. Now, that's according to a survey from Malwarebytes, which is a cybersecurity company. So maybe they have a vested interest in ramping up that number a little bit. But smartphones, which most kids have by the time they're a teenager, make location sharing easy. Life 360, one of the most popular tracking apps, alerts parents with hyper-specific details, like when their child walks into a friend's house, whether they're speeding on the road, and a complete history of their movements over a weekend. Teresa Fabrizio, a Detroit area mom, tells Axios, some of my friends have alerts on their phone indicating when their child has entered math class in college. What? That's insane. That she told Axios, that to me feels very overboard. You're giving them zero opportunity to make the mistakes, skip the class, and feel the repercussions and figure it out for themselves. See, that's my kind of parent. Teresa Fabrizio of Detroit. Detroit's doing really well now, by the way. Congratulations, Detroit. One parent wrote into an advice column in the Washington Post to say they feel anxious about their college-bound kid refusing tracking. The same parent said they have friends who track their 24-year-old married daughter. What? Oh, my. Please. Ugh. Really? So what starts as parents holding on to teens' location for peace of mind can very quickly devolve into parents scolding them for staying out late on a Saturday or calling them every morning to wake them up for class. Pamela Rutledge, the director of the Media Psychology Research Center, tells Axios, you're providing your child with training wheels. They're going to have to come off. She's right. I think this tracking is for the birds. Now, look, it's one thing if you want to track a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. Okay. Even maybe in the early days of them driving, 17, let's say. Okay. Once they're 18, come on. What are you doing? These are people that are old enough to go to war and die. They're old enough to choose the president that sends them there. You're going to track them and their location? No. I think this movement towards tracking adults into adulthood is crazy. I think it's unhealthy. I think it's unhealthy for a young person to feel like they're perpetually being watched. And honestly, I think it's unhealthy for you as the parent of a young adult to perpetually be watching them like you're sitting radar, like you're guarding for a submarine. I think it's crazy. Tell me what you think. I'm curious if you've tried these location sharing apps. This is something I can tell you I have had no experience with. I kind of do think it's cool at the end of the month. Gmail or Google will send me an email. Here are all the cities you visited for the month of May. And you did this and you visited that. That's kind of interesting. But there's a big difference between that, which is already probably, a little invasive for my taste, but I go along with it for the novelty of it. But there's a big difference between that and perpetually tracking where your 19-year-old is. I don't think that's healthy at all. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. I think my siblings, who are all much younger, I think they all have this tracking app with one another, because the other day, it was on Father's Day. We were all going to my father's, and Nicholas was supposed to be somewhere at a certain time, and he wasn't there. And Claudia says, "Oh, they haven't even left yet. I'm tracking him, and it's they were supposed to be here at 1. They haven't even left yet." And I mean, who needs that? Who needs that? I think it's awful, absolutely awful. But I am absolutely ready to have my mind changed or my mind blown. 3 open lines if you want to comment. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. That place, I realize you're in a different position and in that you don't have children or anything. But what's your view of these location sharing or location tracking devices and softwares and stuff?
My first thought is my dad would have loved this.
I bet.
When I was a teenager. And there was no doubt in my mind he would have been tracking every movement, every Friday night I went out, no doubt. Because he would say to me, if I said I was going to a party, he'd go, call me from the person's house when you get there. Now, you know what it's like when you're a teenager and you go to a party.
Right.
It's just some big party at somebody's house.
Right.
So I started just saying, yeah, we're going to the movies. Because then you wouldn't expect me to call him. But I think, like you're saying, at a certain age, 12, 13, 14...
Yeah, look,
under
12 is
yeah.
one thing, right? 12 is one thing.
But 19 and a 24-year-old married person?
I think that is
insane.
the exception. I mean, I think even the most overprotective parent is the exception. Also, you know what? I would also just say if I was spending the evening out somewhere, I wouldn't necessarily want to get into details of where I was and why I was spending the evening out. I would always just say, I'm spending the night at so-and-so's. A friend that, that's routine that I would spend the night there. I don't need to get into detail about whose house I'm sleeping at or where it is. You're out. You're out. But to picture a parent sitting there like a NORAD tracking Santa Claus, it's crazy. I find it very unhealthy for parent and child alike. Let me know what you think.
You're not going to track Carmine?
I might track him at 12 or 11, but no, I don't even think at 16 it's an appropriate thing to do. No.
Have you had that discussion of when he's going to get a cell phone?
We are both inclined to wait as long as we can. I remember we were watching something on television. It might have been on Smirconish that said they recommended this one person waiting to a very late age. I think it was 14. But the problem that we both acknowledged is it's very difficult to do that when all of their friends have them at 10, right? So if every single one of his friends has one at 10 and 11, how do you say, all right, wait till you're 14? It sounds good. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that.
I think 10 is an appropriate age. But I think it's probably going to end up getting younger and younger, though.
No, I mean, I see the boys that live on our block. They have these tablets and these wireless devices at, I think one of them is 6 and has it. Right, I think that's way too young, but apparently it's not because all of his friends have it and they communicate with other friends and things like that. So, let me know. 800-848-9222. I think this is really unhealthy. Just this idea of location tracking. And the older a child or a young adult is, the more unhealthy I think it is for everybody involved. We are now, as Axios refers to it, we have a tracked generation. And is there some element of security with that? Sure. Right. But to the point of that parent, I think you got to give a child or a young adult the opportunity to mess up, make some mistakes, do things they're not supposed to be doing. 800-848-9222. Lisa is in Connecticut. Lisa, what do you think about all this?
So, we're so old school that we're thinking like we did when we were kids, right? But today it's a different world. There's human trafficking and all these other different scary things. So I don't know. I think, you know, a lot of parents might be worried about what's going on with their kid, where they are. So, you know, especially in the city and everything, so they could understand what's going on with their kid, you know?
Well, absolutely. And I think that's why most parents are doing it. I think once you get to a certain age, Lisa, you got to cut the cord.
Yeah.
Though. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
No, for a 10-year-old,
Totally
Matt said if a 10-year-old has a mobile phone, sure, it makes sense. Absolutely. I get, track that 10-year-old. If they're walking to the store or walking to school, you want to make sure they don't get snatched or something. But for a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, I think that's too old.
Yeah, that's a little over. Yeah. No. I'm with you on that.
Lisa, thank you. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Lori is in Valley Stream. What do you think, Lori?
Hi, I'm going to tell you something that you may not believe it, and nobody listening may not believe it, but it's true. I'm a 62-year-old single, no children. So the angle I'm coming from is really strange, I know. But I got in trouble with the law. I had problems with the police in the local area, and they put me on a permanent surveillance. I have no control over it. It's either the DA, I don't know who's doing it, but they have a third-party surveillance on me day and night for over 25 years.
Lori.
And in the go ahead.
Do you have an ankle bracelet or something?
No, it's not warranted. It has no warrant. It's being done under the radar, and it's called a third-party surveillance, instituted by President Obama, that was supposed to be used for domestic terrorism. So what I found out, it took a long time for me to figure it out, and I don't care if they're listening, because I really want people to know this. Everything I have was turned off. Everything. I can't sell anything online. I can't have a computer. Was crashed 3 times. It's just harassment. I'm on the bus. People in back of me get a phone call. Hello, hello, hello. I'm on the bank line. People in back of me get a phone call. Hello, hello. I could be somewhere and anything I'm doing gets sabotaged. They have something under my car, I think, or maybe they're using my car ID. I don't know what they're doing. I'm just telling you that this is the bad side of it, and it's been going on for a long time. It's since like 91, since it was. It's your Fourth Amendment right. It's your Fourth Amendment. It's search and seizure. It's a breach of your search and seizure right. It took me a long time to learn what it was. I just want to tell everybody what
Lori,
it is.
How did you learn what it was?
Oh my God, deduction. I had to some friend of mine who knows someone who used to work in the court system asked the detective, and he specifically said, we do that with certain people.
But what did you do that makes you worthy of being tracked for the rest of your life?
I think I made 14 internal affairs reports against Nassau County Police over a period of about 10 years, which pissed up some of the policemen off. And I think maybe I was on top of them, and they don't like it here in Long Island, as you know.
So, Lori, you think because you were kind of calling out police corruption and that sort of thing, they made the decision to track you permanently for the rest of your life, even though there's no ankle bracelet or anything like that?
Yes, sir. Yes. And it's been going on for a long time. I started in 97. But then it switches to different people, but now it's the same guy for 13 years. And Valley Stream is the worst. But I just wanted to stop. I swear, I can't have. I used to sell things on eBay. It was shut off. It was 3-4 times. PayPal was shut off. They send you spoof pages. They have everything. And I was told that it might be military equipment, like a Stingray. Every phone call goes. The only time I can make phone calls is on a Sunday morning, right, between around 3:30 and 8 in the morning. They start again working Monday morning.
Wow.
Took me a long time. It took me a long time to learn. Stingray. They use a Stingray. It's a cell tower simulator. So the guy might have it in his vehicle. I don't know. It's a cell. Look it up. It's called a Stingray. It's being used in law enforcement all over the country. And it's only since Obama. So it's your Fourth Amendment rights are being breached.
But
and you really
Lori,
should.
Sir, I know I talk about a lot the egregious violations of the Fourth Amendment, and I'm with you on that. But if they've been tracking you since 1991 or 1997, and Obama was elected in 2008, how can you blame?
Oh, I don't know. I might have my dates wrong on that. I'm definitely not educated, okay? I did not go to college. I'm just telling you, like, I might have my dates wrong, and I might have even the year wrong when they started following me. But I know that since I'm in Valley Stream, it's nonstop. And I even seen the guy. I've seen him several times. He's a young guy. He's like 10, 20 years younger than me. But that's not the problem I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to tell everybody this. You should take your SIM card out when you're walking around. You should take it out when you don't want them. As long as it's not on the receptors, it doesn't send the pings to the cell tower.
And
if you don't want...
That's what you did. That's what you did?
Oh, God. I have track phones. They shut them off. I only have flip phones. I'm living on a 2-inch screen.
Wow.
They shut them off. I throw them out. I give them away. I can't... The only thing you need is a SIM card. If you can move it from one phone to another, and if you can push it off the receptors, no one can follow you. They follow you with the SIM card. That's your phone.
So that's what you've done. You've taken that SIM card out.
Yeah, but they got something under my car.
I see.
All right.
Well, but Lori, does that interfere with anything that you're doing professionally at all?
It has ruined my life. I can't do anything. I can't sell anything on the internet. I'm retired age, so I can't really get a job. I'm handicapped too, so I really can't walk around. I have to use my car. I can't figure out where the thing is. They have something on Amazon to find. I have to buy something. It's like it beeps or something, and when you go around the car, but I haven't bought it yet. And I'll just tell you, I've lost friends. They tell me I'm crazy. I've had to discuss it over and over with my best friends. They do believe me now because every time they're after me, there's police on the road. They seem to contact them, and they blink their headlights at me, and they do what is that thing called, on the roof? With the siren when they're not going anywhere. They love it. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. I don't know how many people they have on this list. There must be a list of people.
But Lori, the one thing that I'd be curious about is, what do the police hope to achieve by tracking you?
It's just harassment.
In retribution for you calling them out for their shenanigans.
And also possibly trying to get me again, like maybe arrest me again and find me in a situation where I'm vulnerable, and two people or two cars could pull up and say, you just did like reckless endangerment, even when I didn't, anything. I'm like so clean right now. I'm like walking a thin line every time I go out, and I try to just like stay in my local area. My whole family knows about it. Everybody I know talks about with me, but they're like, all right already, shut up already. I'm sick of hearing it. Oh, they're not like that. Sometimes they might do stuff like that, but we don't want to hear it. I'm telling you, it's bad, and it's local. Have you noticed any changes in the way that you're being tracked over the years? I mean, I know you mentioned that you think they're not able to track you on your phone now, and now they track you through your car. But are there any other changes? You need a private network, or you need on your computers. I really think you should just keep taking SIM cards out. You get that silent bag, SLNT. Put that or any device inside that. You really have to expect it now, because then they changed the 2 months ago they just changed the FISA law, and they allowed for no warrant. Mm-hmm. No warrant. So
I've talked about that at the time.
It's open season. It's open season on the public.
Some people might listen to this and they're saying, look, I've said things that are critical of law enforcement or prosecutors, and I don't want to be tracked myself. How does someone know if they're being tracked by law enforcement in the manner that you are?
I would say 5 times in 1 month, a cop crosses your path out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That means you're being followed, or you're annoying them in some way. On the phone, it's harassment. It's a third party that they hired. It might be a private investigator. It's like a young guy that they get, and he just continuously harasses you. He'll switch your phone calls. They go different direction. They go to your landlord instead of your boyfriend. They go to your mother's house instead of your landlord. It just keeps it's all different things happening that aren't supposed to happen. It's constant sabotage. I get a call, spoof pages from PayPal. Oh, we closed off your account. We just closed it. eBay. Oh, we shut your account. No reason. Just constant emails. Be open when you get into your email. It's already open. That's surveillance.
Lori, and I want to get to some other people, and I appreciate you being so candid. Okay. I'm sure that's not an interesting. And
I'm annoyed.
No, I'm imagining. But let me ask you this before you go. How do you differentiate between ordinary events and those that you believe are related to tracking? Now, if I run into a cop, I might just be able to run into a cop. How do you know whether that's a function of being tracked or a function of happenstance?
Because, this is what I always say. It's the timing. It's the timing. It's just a very uncomfortable timing. It has nothing to do with where you're going. It shouldn't be having to do with the day. And they're just right there, all of a sudden, in front of you or in back of you or on the side. Believe me, I could write a book about it.
I think you should actually, Lori, because I think that would be interesting. What would you like to see happen in order to feel safe and free from surveillance?
Long Island, Nassau, and Suffolk County are very corrupt. They both need oversight. They need civilian oversight panels. They have none. In the city, you have Cop Watch. You have several other organizations. In Long Island, everybody I know, and I'm 62 now, they cower and back down. It takes years and years and years for anything to get done in Long Island. And they know it. And it's a field day. They're having a field day.
Did you ever think about...
start crying.
No, don't cry. Did you ever think about moving?
I thought about moving. I tried to move. My unfortunate circumstance is I did cat rescue and I have cats. So, if I try to move, I have to buy property.
Anybody surprised that she's a cat person?
I really don't want to live in Suffolk. That's even worse than Nassau. So I'm looking to go to Florida, like everyone else, or something like that in the near future. Well, I want to say that I don't think it will stop totally. I would have to go underground. They do connect with, if you look on the internet and look up Stingray, it's going to be used in almost all 50 states.
Well, that's a bummer.
They could get a friend. They call somebody that they know. Oh, I'm looking for this one. I'm looking for this one, and that's what they do. It's
so,
horrible.
Lori, I know that you said it's difficult for you to, get jobs and so forth right now. But are you working right now?
I can't make a dime. I'm not lying to you, and I can't make a dime. Well, and I used to sell things on the internet.
I'm wishing you the best, Lori. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Keep in touch with us, okay? You got our number. Keep in touch and let us know how that's going, okay?
All right. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. You too. I feel bad for Lori being tracked like that. Who needs that? I would hate that. 800-848-9222. I mean, the device on her car and everything. It's terrible. Mike in St. Louis listening on KMOX. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, Frank?
Better than Lori is, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. No, I was just calling about what you were talking about a minute ago with the tracking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. When a child's 10, 12, 14 years old, you want to know where they're at. But if you've got an 18, 20, 22-year-olds and mommy and daddy are still paying for their phone, track them.
Track them, even no matter how old they are.
Right. As long as you're paying for their phone. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the right that they have to do this. I just wonder if it's a healthy thing either for the young adult or for the parent. But Mike, I appreciate that. Thank you. 800-848-9222. Noam Laden coming up in just a minute. Mark in Woodside, though, has been holding. Hi, Mark.
Hey, it's Mike, Frank in Woodside. The thing that you got to think about there is if you're paying or you're putting your kid on your taxes till age 26, right? And you have their college loans of about $100,000 a year piled onto your debt as a co-signer, you definitely need to know when they're slacking off and not attending class. That's just being fair. If you're taking the debt and, they're not attending the classes, then wait a minute, you got a right to call Junior and find out exactly what he's doing, right? I mean, that's just basic. But in fairness, my kids can track me. Because I'm legally blind, when I go out for a walk or whatever, I want them to know where I am, just in case something happens, Dad doesn't make it back. They know which, curb and accident report to check on. So it's fairness. If you're going to track your kids, you ought to at least give them the equal opportunity to track you.
Well, I understand it in your case because obviously you're visually impaired, and again, as you said, you don't want to be lying in a ditch somewhere without anybody being able to find you. I get it. I'm telling you, I don't want anybody, not my son, not my wife, not my mom, tracking me and knowing where I am. I want to be on my own, and maybe that'll be to my detriment. Maybe I'll be, unconscious somewhere. Nobody will be able to find me, God forbid. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's something, and thanks for the call, Mike, there's something undignified about Big Brother watching you. I mean, did you hear how disruptive this has been to Lori's life? And imagine, these are strangers tracking her. Who knows? If it was somebody that she knew, it might even be worse. All right, Noam Laden is here. I am betting he doesn't track any of his children. We'll find out in a moment. This is The Other Side of Midnight, straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
This is Greg Kelly for Priority Gold. What does it mean to be America's precious metals dealer? It means that you're in touch with the hearts and minds of those who love this country, value our freedom, and want to protect the future. Priority Gold is that precious metals dealer. They've helped thousands of Americans back their retirement with solid gold and silver. Call Priority Gold at 888-506-6439. Receive free shipping, free storage, a free investment guide, and one of the best purchase experiences in the industry. Call now or go to PriorityGold.com.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
With everything you have on your plate, earning your degree online seems impossible. But at Grand Canyon University, we specialize in helping you fit a master's degree in education into your busy day. Your graduation team, led by your own GCU counselor, provides you with the personal support you need to succeed. Achieve your goals with a plan and team behind you. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit gcu.edu.
It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel. It's my baby calling, says I need you here. And it's 4:30 and I'm shifting gear. When she's lonely and the longing gets too much, she
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. If you ever want to know what kind of music we're playing on the program, just join our Facebook group and search Morano Radio Fans and Haters on Facebook. We'll post the song title and artist there each and every morning. Meantime, it is a pleasure each and every morning to have a good bit of time with Noam Laden.
Stand by for the other side of Midnight's news.
From New York City, the other side of midnight and its affiliated stations present national and international news with Frank Morano and news director Noam Laden. Their summary of the world news and personal comments. Get the rest of the story.
Hello, Noam.
Good morning, Frank. You gotta love the French, especially when they're angry. They're always incredibly entertaining people. The Seine River has been all the talk for the last year or so now that the Olympics are going to take place in Paris this summer. It has been known to be one of the dirtiest bodies of water in Europe, but the French had promised the Olympic Committee when they secured the Olympics that they would clean up this body of water. People hadn't swam, whatever, in years. And there's all kinds of stuff in there, like unused bicycles. People have been throwing rubbish in there for hundreds of years. So the mayor, Anne Hidalgo, did what she could to clean up the river. And the French said they didn't really believe it was really that clean. So she said she was going to go for a swim in the river to prove not just to the French, but to everybody coming for the Olympics, because some of the races will take place in that river, that it's clean. So as she was getting ready to jump into the river, there was another group of furious Frenchmen who say the French have spent way too much money on the Olympics. And as a protest to her jumping into the river and spending so much money cleaning up that river, they were going to poo into the river at the exact same time she was going to jump into the river. This all taking place yesterday, by the way. Goodness. And so she ended up not going into the river. And who can blame her with the chance of having to deal with that? But they've spent, a staggering, $1 billion, something like that, trying to clean up this river over the last year or so. It's not clear that it's completely clean. There's lots of, both sides are saying, some sides say, no, it's fine. They have a swimming, they have a triathlon event that's going to take place in the river. They were going to do a test on the river in the last couple days. Last second, they canceled that. That didn't have to do with the cleanliness. But this little protest over the weekend stopped the mayor of Paris from jumping into the river. And I guess really who can blame her?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would not jump into that river myself.
No. I love smart people. And this guy is going to get a job somewhere. So Turkish authorities have arrested this student for cheating during a university entrance exam by making up a makeshift device that was linked to AI software to answer questions. So the student was spotted behaving in a suspicious way. This was last week during the exam, and was detained by police. And they were trying to figure out what was going on. But what they realized was he had attached a camera to his shirt button. And he would lean over the questions of the exam. The camera would take a picture of that question, send it back to a computer that then inserted into an AI application. Oof. The answer would then come up to that question. It would then, he had set it up so then the answer could be whispered into an earpiece. He had like buds in his ear. I guess you were allowed to wear them during the exam. And he was getting answers via AI to the questions on his exam. The Turkish, by the way, don't think there's anything funny about this. As a college student, they've arrested him, actually, and he's in a whole host of trouble. But you can imagine there's probably a fair amount of engineering firms around the country saying, wow, this is brilliant on the part of this student and may want to hire somebody like this.
Well, I'm glad that he's being punished because, he's cheating and he should be punished. Two, I have to think that if you're going to go to that amount of effort to cheat, you could probably just study for the test and do well.
Right. That's true. But
what are you doing?
Yeah, you could study. Maybe just an idiot, but not when it comes to that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the exam was in. Maybe it's something he's just not that great in. And he thought, okay. But the fact that he actually, spent an enormous amount of time figuring out how this works, I don't really totally even understand how it works. Took a picture, goes back to the computer. I mean, yeah, there's a lot involved there.
I would like to know the subject matter, because if it's a spelling test or something, then forget about it. I have no sympathy for this guy whatsoever.
By the way, the Turkish take it so seriously that he's facing jail time for cheating on this exam.
Yeah, well, I mean, is that because of the technology involved, or they prosecute everybody for cheating?
No, they're just a country that likes to prosecute people.
Well,
yeah,
they should. I don't know if he belongs in jail, but I certainly disapprove.
How long did it take you to come up with the name Carmine?
It was instant from the time I was. In our family, it's a tradition that you name your son. Your first son after your father. So my father is Carmine. His father was Frank. His father was Carmine.
I gotcha. So Carmine's son, if he has one, will be Frank.
Hopefully.
Wow, I was able to figure that out even at this early hour. Yeah. So everybody, the new trend, of course, or it has been this way for a couple decades, going back to Gwyneth Paltrow, some others who'd always try to come up with some great new name that's inventive and interesting. In the case of Gwyneth Paltrow, she named one of her kids Apple. That was really cool. All of a sudden, people started naming their kids Apple. So the new trend now is to try to find the most unique name, but not one that'll stick out like a sore thumb and kids will tease you endlessly like they did with me with my name when I was a child. So now you can hire a consultant. The newest trend, these microphones are working well here, is to hire a consultant and they will help you come up with a name. And it's amazing how much business these name consultants are doing. So one of them, she's Emily Kim. She lives in Minnesota. You can have a 5-minute session with her. She does a little research ahead of time. And for $295, she'll come up
$295
for a 5-minute session. She will come up with personalized suggestions for names that she thinks will fit your kid perfectly. You were lucky in that you had a tradition, so it was pretty easy to come up with a name. But most people, they don't necessarily name it after former generation. They have to really come and they try to think they try to decide, does it match with the last name? Is it the middle name too ethnic? Whatever it might be. So Emily Kim, she's one of about 10 that I could find online that will charge you a fee to sit down with her. And of course, this is online for a 5-minute session. And she'll have a list of names that she thinks are unique and interesting and might fit your child perfectly. And by the way, Emily Kim says there are not enough hours in the day for the amount of people who want to use her service.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So $295 an hour, we are absolutely in the wrong business.
What about you? When you named your children, did you hire a consultant?
I did not.
No? How did you figure that out?
We just sat down and, like a lot of couples do, and said, what names do we like?
No wonder they have such lame names.
Yeah, they do. They have terrible names.
Well, I cannot imagine if we have ever any future children hiring a name consultant. I think that's crazy. You know what also irks me is now, I mean, the New York Times did an article about this over the weekend about now everything is a name. We're in a place where you could name a child microphone or name it a symbol like Elon Musk did or whatever they are. But you know what irks me? It used to be if you'd meet someone and their name was Cindy, you knew how it was spelled. It was Cindy.
Yeah, right.
Now it's crazy, but you have no idea how that's spelled. It could be Cindi. It could be Cydndi. It could be Cyndie. It's nuts. So there was a really bizarre name the other day that I encountered of a young woman who had a standard sounding name. Oh, it was Stephanie, and I took note of it because that's my mother's name.
And how'd she spell it?
So this person's telling me about Stephanie's name, and she says, she spells it with an F. I said, okay, that's okay. I can deal. It's new. And then she just spells it with an I at the end. So it's Stefani.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Well, the thing that's ridiculous about it is nobody sees how your name is spelled.
Exactly.
They only know how it's pronounced.
Exactly.
Right. So why put the I on it and just confuse everybody?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Crazy. Drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Do you track your children on their mobile phones?
Yeah.
You do.
I was very interested to hear that conversation because from people who do or do not have kids, I can tell you that and I don't think I'm wrong, that the vast, vast majority of parents track their kids
84%.
constantly. I think it's higher than that. Those are people. Yeah,
what?
I would say it's in the 90s.
90s.
I don't know anybody who does not track their kid. It's the technology's there and you can watch to see if they're safe. So why not use it? And I understand where you're coming from that you say,
until what age? How about that?
Well, funny you should say that because that's an argument in the household right now. I have a 20-year-old who I don't think should be tracked, but my wife
would
does.
hope not.
And because he lives in Philadelphia, she's worried about, it's a pretty violent city, or it can be. And so she wants to know where he is. And so she said, and what happened was he turned it off because, he said, I don't want you tracking me. And by the way, I don't blame him 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
But she said, if you want to be on our plan, you better turn it back on. So he did.
Oh,
yeah. So not for me. I told him, don't turn it off for me. I won't look at it. So it's on for her so she can track him as he walks through the streets of Philadelphia or wherever he may be.
20's too old.
I agree.
Come on.
I'm right there with you.
Come on.
But she said, no, I can't sleep at night. I can remember, and you probably had this too, before you got out, long before there were even cell phones, that I would be out till the late hours, when I was in high school, and I would pull into the driveway, and then I would see the light in my mother's bedroom turn off because she could see the lights of my car coming in, and that's when she would go to bed. So I knew she was up until the moment I got home. But I'm guessing if she had had that technology, the tracking technology, maybe she would have slept a little better. She would have known I was at this person's house, of course. And I was like you, I completely lied always about where I was.
Do you and your wife have this?
Oh, yes, she can follow what I am up to. And, I live such a fascinating life that she needs to know where I am every hour of the day. She's into it, and there's not much I can do. I guess I could turn it off, but I don't really care. It's fine. If you want to watch where I am, go for it.
No, we know another couple that track one another.
Right.
And my wife said to me after we left hearing them discuss tracking one another, she says, could you imagine if I had access to your whereabouts? I said, no, I can't.
So she does want it. She wants it.
No, she does. She recognizes that that's a non-starter.
Yeah.
No way.
I don't track my wife. I care less.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right, final question. I see you wearing socks.
Right.
Do you always wear socks?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
none of
all
the
right,
feet in the shoes with no socks on is kind of gross. Sandals, okay, I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
But not shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Well,
Sure.
I mean, you saw George Norcross was at that press conference
Yes.
with no socks.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Right.
Ridiculous. He's got to
There's lots of people around here, by the way, who don't wear them either. I see it all the time.
Radio people are not the standard by which
that's
anybody
true.
should be
For
compared.
fashion, yeah.
Or anything else. It's mental stability, anything else.
That is absolutely true.
Anything else. All right. Thank you,
Sure.
Noam. You've done a yeoman's job as always.
And now you know the rest of the story.
If Noam's wife is listening, he's leaving the studio now. But you already know that. You don't need me to tell you. All right. 15 seconds of fame in a moment. Hey, I do want to mention on Thursday, I'm going to be at a great fundraiser for this group, Lyrics for Lucas. It's a really great event. Great listener, Al DiGiulio. He lost his son, Lucas, years ago. And he died suddenly, and they don't call it sudden infant death syndrome if your child is over a year. And he's been very active in trying to both remember children that are lost in such a manner and to find some sort of a cure for this. So he's got this great organization, lyricsforlucas.org. It's going to be an event Thursday, 6 p.m. It's a cigar and cocktails event in Midtown Manhattan. So if you're interested in that, you could email lyricsforlucas@gmail.com or just go to their website, lyricsforlucas.org. I'm going to be there just because I like the work that Al is doing and because there might be a cigar in it for me. So we'll see. But hopefully I'll see some of you there as well. lyricsforlucas.org. 15 seconds of fame straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. The Other Side of Midnight. This is 15 Seconds of Fame.
Neil.
Yeah, Frank, could you have Lori from Valley Stream back tomorrow? for a full 4 hours so I could get some sleep.
E. Frank.
Yes, Frank, you know the worst form of tracking is to be tracked through a chip Antichrist style, human mind control, and not being able to call the authorities to investigate what's happening and what's going on.
Mike.
Morning, Frank. I track myself. I'm a self-tracker. I need to know where I am at all times, where I'm going, who I'm with, and who I'm going to be with. I put one phone in my pocket and track with the other phone. Difficulty arises when the phone battery dies. Then I have no idea where I am or where I'm going. A spy I am not.
David.
Yeah, Frank, you got to use your matchmaking skills to bring E. Frank and Lori together, the ultimate power couple.
You know, I was thinking the same thing, actually, but I'm not sure the world is ready for that combination. I think Lori might be a little out of E. Frank's league, if I'm being honest. Rusty.
Yeah, I hear you supporting Robert Kennedy Jr. His father was no good. His Uncle Ted was no good. And he stinks. And what are you going to be a traitor for?
Thank you, Rusty. Well put, succinctly, right on the money, as only you can. Nobody has a better track record of beginning cogent, coherent, compelling phone conversations with the word yeah, more so than you, Rusty. We owe you and your nation we owe you a debt of gratitude. We really do. Frank Morano, good day.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.